Welcome back, everybody. Long time no see. Sorry I was away for a couple weeks. You guys know I was busy. Lots of things on the go, but primarily getting ready for this MMA fight, my first MMA fight, my MMA debut. It was taking up all my time, sort of sucked my emotions down to the limit where I really didn't have the energy to be doing these videos. But I'm back now, and I'm excited to be getting lots of footage out for you guys, lots of content. I'm sure you guys can tell I'm super happy right now. I've been thinking about this for a couple of years now. Never really pulled the trigger because I was putting all my energy into getting that Bellator belt, getting the world title, becoming a 6-time world champion. But now that that's done, it was time to move on, and we're gonna talk about that in today's episode, how the experience was for me, what I thought about it, would I do it again, what would I suggest for you guys if you're thinking about having your first MMA fight. I'm so happy right now that I pulled the trigger, took the risk, made the fight happen, and everything turned out well. This is gonna be a fun episode. So 3 months before my Bellator MMA debut, Bellator came to me, well actually my managers did, and they said, okay, sorry, we don't have a kickboxing card for you in the summer. You're gonna have to wait until closer to the end of the year. So I had a decision to make. Did I wanna go and fight in China and have a kickboxing fight there, stay comfortable, nice and easy, nothing too crazy? Or do I bite the bullet after years of thinking it and try MMA? Once I made the decision that I wanted to try MMA, instead of taking the comfortable, easy route, going to China and taking a kickboxing fight where I know I can win and I know what my strengths are. So I headed over to Kaiser Academy in Victoria and told the head instructor that I had 3 months to get ready for my first MMA fight with pretty minimal Jiu Jitsu experience under my belt. I've trained with Matt Kaiser on and off, sort of 2 months on, then I take 4 months off, and then maybe a month, and then take another couple months off. So I know him and he knows me. He knows what I'm capable of striking wise. And he said, you know what? 3 months, it's not as much time as I wanted, but I can get you ready for your MMA debut in that time. And I had every confidence that he could get me ready because he's a world-class competitor himself. We have a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms, a lot of martial arts gyms in Victoria. And I ended up going to him because I wanted somebody who competed on a world stage, who knew mentally and physically what it takes to be one of the best. And that if I'm rolling with him, he can push me to that level where I just feel like a little baby. And I do every time I roll with him. I just feel like I have no answer for anything, but that's what I wanted. I was so excited, but extremely nervous for this fight. We're talking about learning wrestling, starting jiu-jitsu full-time for the first time in almost 20 years, and changing up my striking style to adjust for those tiny, tiny 4-ounce gloves. Nervous so often. And then on top of that, I got some major injuries in camp from the new style of training, which my body wasn't accustomed to. I got a really badly bruised rib, which was nagging away for almost 6 weeks, and then a slightly torn, minor tear on the MCL, both of which happened during jiu-jitsu rolling. And both of which affected my training to a certain extent because once you have those injuries, you have to be extra careful and extra cautious that you don't continue to aggravate them and you don't go into the fight with them. But in spite of that, I really did enjoy the challenge. Although I would suggest taking a full year for anybody who's thinking about making that transition, mostly so your body can get accustomed to the new amount of pain and punishment you're gonna put it through, but also just because it's hard on your brain. You're learning so much new stuff, and also emotionally. If things aren't going well and you're not feeling like you're picking it up really quick, it becomes daunting and it can play with your mind. But I still enjoy the experience, which brings me to the answer of the question I keep getting asked since I fought: are you gonna do MMA again? And the answer is yes, I am gonna fight in the octagon again. This was not a one and done sort of thing for me. It would have been too much work to just fight once and just leave it, never touch it again. If I learned this much for this training camp, by the end of the next training camp, I want to know that much. And then I want to build so that I can become a very proficient jiu-jitsu practitioner and also wrestler in terms of MMA. Fighting for Bellator has been amazing, and I'm not only proud to call myself their kickboxing world champion, but now I can say I'm a Bellator MMA athlete. And to me, that feels like a massive accomplishment, especially given what I've accomplished in kickboxing and the fact that I'm not in my 20s anymore. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about preparing for MMA striking as a kickboxer, and why some fighters have been really successful with the transition while other fighters have struggled. And remember, since we're talking about MMA, hit that sub button below, and I'll see you guys back here next week for another episode.